welcome. Thank you all so much for coming. We're going to go ahead and get started. Please take a seat at this time. My name is Muriel Wiley. I'm a fellow with the Economic Recovery Corps. That is a program for the International Economic Development Council. I'm here working on the Whole Hines project, and I will be your moderator for this evening. This event has been planned by the Neighborhood Services Division within the City of Jackson. At each table, you should find a copy of the agenda, and please make sure you have signed in at the table up front. There are bathrooms around the corner, and you should find a packet to be shared amongst each of you at the table. We would like to take this opportunity to thank all of the agencies who made it out tonight to be here to speak with you, and we are very thankful for those representatives for making time to be here tonight. That would be a big thank you to Beam, Atlas, Entergy, MDOT, Jackson Water, all of the media, and the City of Jackson. All right, at this time, I would like to welcome Dr. Smith of the Neighborhood Services Division up here to speak with you all for a moment.
Good afternoon, good evening. We're so glad to see all of you here tonight, and we welcome you. We're so glad that we have this opportunity to all come together in one location and try and get some answers for some of the things that many of you are experiencing. So feel free to go to the tables where they're set up, where the service providers are set up, and we're going to have a time for them to give their presentations. Be sure to take notes and write your answers down. We're so glad that you're here. Now, I want to introduce Neighborhood Services to you. We are the connection between you and situations like this. We want to build those bridges, build those relationships so that you, whenever you have a situation, you have built a relationship with your service provider or whomever else it is that you need to make contact with, that you have an open door. So with Neighborhood Services, I'm the Neighborhood Services Manager. I have my immediate supervisor here with me this evening, which you're going to hear from in just a few short minutes, Ms. Esther Ainsworth. She's our zoning administrator, and also have our Neighborhood Services Community Liaison, which is Ms. Jennifer Weston, which many of you already know her. Jennifer, wave your hands so they know who you are. Jennifer, wave your hands so they know who you are. And you also see Ms. Esther Ainsworth is the zoning administrator. That's who she is. This is our team with Neighborhood Services. We're moving forward. We're trying to make things happen for you all in the City of Jackson. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
At this time, we would like to take an opportunity to begin with prayer. If everyone would just take a moment to bow your heads for a moment of silent prayer. Amen. All right, thank you all again so much for being here. And at this time, we should go ahead and get right into it and talk about why we're here. So we're here tonight to find solutions regarding our utilities within the City of Jackson. We have all gathered amongst these agencies, Atlas Energy, Entergy, MDOT, Jackson Water, and Beam are all here graciously to address some of these issues that we have all faced to some degree or another. And at the end of the day, it's all about safety. We want to feel safe when we drive home from work, down whatever road it is we have to travel. I-55, 220, Highway 80, downtown, State Street, Capitol Street, Raymond Road, or the newly renamed Bobby Rush Boulevard. At this time, we want to talk a little bit about what happened during the pandemic, and Beam will be speaking with us about that. We still had to go and receive the services we needed. We had a lot of situations during the pandemic where there was fear and there was panic, and we had things to do even if it was remotely. Government had to go on. Teachers still had to teach. Students were still expected to learn, and doctors were still expected to practice. Church, of course, still had to go on as well. So if the internet services for all of those needs that we realized during the pandemic were not adequate, what can we do? God forbid anything of that nature happening again, but what if it does? Will we be prepared to have the internet services that we need? So we have with us tonight a representative of BEAM. BEAM stands for Broadband Enhancement Accessibility in Mississippi. We would at this time like to ask BEAM to come on up, and we'll begin asking some questions. And if you would, please be kind and welcome our representative from BEAM this evening. And please introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, I hope y'all are doing well this evening. My name is Ashley Johnson-Bird. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the BEAM office. And so BEAM is just about internet, as she said. And we all know after the pandemic how important high-speed internet is at our homes. Instead of going to McDonald's or the library or something like that, you need high-speed internet at your home for telehealth or kids to do schoolwork, things like that. So to give you a little background on our office, we are in charge of
We're going to get something set up really quick at this time, but if we could get all of our panelists to the front, we'll go ahead and bring you guys up here and get you guys situated. So that would be Atmos Energy representative, MDOT representative, Jackson Water, and Entergy. Go ahead and make your way to the front.
Sorry about that little technical difficulty. As we know, technology is agreeable when it wants to be. As necessary as it is, sometimes it does disagree with us. And so our office is in charge of handling about $1.5 billion worth of broadband expansion grants to make sure that every home in the state will have access to high-speed internet if they choose to take service. So essentially, we have had some previous smaller grants in the past, and currently we're working through some of those, but we're preparing for this $1.2 billion to expand internet. Now, as you can imagine, a sum of $1.2 billion does not just magically appear in our bank account. The federal government is making us go through a lot of steps to gain access to these funds, because they want to make sure that we're going to spend these funds as effectively and make sure that this money goes for the most good for the most people in Mississippi. The president has given us, the state broadband office, the task of making sure that every household has access with this money. And I, of course, don't want to be the one to have to answer to DC and say, for some reason, somebody didn't get service. So we're going to make sure everybody gets service so the president doesn't come back to us and ask why not. Next slide, please. So currently, I'm sorry, skip this one. And this one. Sorry. There we go. So currently, our step in getting access to that $1.2 billion is to correct our state broadband map. So essentially, our office has gone through a lot of utility providers, Entergy, different things like that to make sure that we know where all of the houses are on the map. Because if we don't have your house on our map, then we don't know we need to connect you. So we've gone through that to try to make sure we have all of the locations on the map. But we know that sometimes there are inaccuracies with the way that internet service providers report their service, just because there have been a lot of changes recently to the way they've had to report. Used to, they had to report a whole census block and say whether or not that census block had service. And what that would mean is if one person in that census block had service, then it counted for everybody in the census block. And we know that's not an accurate way to report. We need to know at your house what your internet service is. So we're doing this challenge process where if you look at our map and you see that an internet service provider has said they offer you high-speed internet, but you're not getting the speed that you're paying for, then we need to know so we can get you on the list for high-speed internet in the future. So our map is, I'll give you the link at the very end, but this is what it looks like when you first go to the page. And that little arrow up in the top, you can put in your address to see what providers tell you they do or don't offer service at your house. And it'll tell you if you have a good speed or a bad speed, or, you know, we talk about being served by high-speed internet is a federally defined term of being over 100 megabytes per second download and 20 megabytes per second upload. And those are represented by gray dots on our map. And you see a lot of green on the map. I don't know how well y'all can see it on the slide, but you can zoom in when you're actually on the site. And so the green is where an internet service provider has already gotten service to build high-speed access to those locations. Now, Beam does handle a few of the broadband grants that have already been given that are green, but we don't do a majority of them because the USDA and the FCC have a lot of the grants out there for this. And so anything that's a pink dot or a blue dot, we know you don't have access to high-speed internet and you're already on our list for our 1.2 billion that I talked about at the beginning. So it's very important that you go to the map, find your address, and see if you're on our list for internet or if we need to make some corrections to that map if you're not receiving high-speed internet at your home. Next slide, please.
How do we get to that?
I'll give you the link at the end. I have it on the slide so you can take a picture of it if you would like to. And so, like I said, only locations listed as served, which are gray dots. That means the provider says, yes, we have high-speed internet at this house. But if you don't receive high-speed internet at your house, that's when you would need to participate in this challenge process that I'm talking about. And what that means is if you have a low speed, but you're paying for a speed that counts you as served, then what we're going to do then is get you to do some speed tests, and that's going to be a challenge so that that provider can't, you know, you'll submit your speed test, and then that provider is going to have to prove that you were wrong, which is going to be hard for them to do if you got your speed test, right? Next slide. And that would turn your address from a gray dot that says, yes, I have high-speed internet, to either a pink or a blue dot, so you can get on the list for high-speed internet. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a complicated process, and we didn't have much say in the rules of how this was going to be, taken out on the state. But the federal government gave us this rule. We have a website, I'll give you that at the end as well, where you have to download the results from your speed tests. And then you have to go and click this button and upload them for us, tell us what your speeds were, what your address is. It's very complicated. But we've contracted with the planning and development districts across the state. I think this is the central planning and development district. So if you're having any sort of issues, call our office, email our office, and we'll get in touch either with you directly or we'll have the planning and development district make sure that challenge gets filed on your behalf. Because once you upload your speed test, then either a local government, a nonprofit, or the planning and development district or the internet service provider has to take that information you send and say, yes, this is a good challenge to have, we're going to challenge that speed. So it is very complicated. This is what our website will look like when you go to do that. If you could go to the next slide, please. And so I talked about speed, but there are a few other types of challenges. I'm just going to run through them quickly because speed is the most common. So we'll go to the next slide. So this is essentially for, if somebody from the city of Jackson were to do a challenge, they would need 6 people in the census block group to make this a challengeable thing. But for you, as an individual, you might get some of your neighbors to say, hey, can you do the speed test with me if you're not getting enough speed in your house too. And then you do need a copy of your bill when you do your speed test, because it's gonna ask you what speed you pay for, so that we can look at your bill and also look at what speed you're actually receiving. Next slide, please. The next would be if, say, a provider says, yes, we serve you, and when you look at our map, it says that what provider X is gonna offer you service, but when you call that provider, they're like, oh no, we don't offer service at your house. So we know that happens sometimes there are just errors in recording, but we need to know, we need a letter, we need you to write down the conversation with the provider, something like that, to make it sure we have proof to go to that provider and say, this resident says that you're not providing service there, but the map says that you do. Next slide, please. And so the other 4 of these, like I said, are very uncommon, but I do just want to run through them. Latency is like if you click play on a video and it just kind of spins for a few seconds before it tries to play, that would mean your latency is too high. Next slide. Technology listed is incorrect. If you know that you only have DSL, but it says you have fiber to your house, then you would do a challenge on that. Next slide, please. Data cap. This one is a little more common, especially for people who use hotspots or things like that. If you have a limit to 600 gigabytes a month, and then they say, nope, no more internet for you this month, then that would be a challenge. Next slide, please. And if you look at the map and you say, provider X says they can provide service, but you call and they're like, oh no, we don't do residential, we only do business lines. That would be a challenge as well. Next slide, please. And then community anchor institutions, we always like to mention, they have a slightly different burden of proof on them than residential addresses. But so that 1.2 billion is allocated in a certain way. So the federal government says, okay, you have to first serve all unserved addresses, then all underserved addresses, and then if there's anything left after you get all of the residential, you can build gigabyte service to any community anchor institution. So that would be schools, libraries, medical providers, public safety entities, schools and higher education, public housing, things like that. And so that wouldn't mean we're paying their bill every month, but it would mean they would have access to a higher speed for that business or for that anchor institution. Next slide, please. And so this is really the last chance for individuals to offer any feedback on our map. So we're asking if you think you look at our map, you think it's incorrect, we want to help get that updated so that we can make sure you're going to get access to high-speed internet when we're done. So if you need to find the map or the challenge portal, if you think you need to submit some speed test copies to us, beam.ms.gov, there's a big red bar at the top that says view the map here, and then view the challenge, or challenge your address here. You would just click those links, and it'll take you straight to it. If you want to email our office, it's info@beam.ms.gov. And if you'd rather call us, I should have put the number on here, but for some reason I didn't. If you're ready, I have the phone number in my head. We'll see if I remember it. It is 601-359-5029. And again, that is 601-359-5029. And if you are paying for internet and you're not receiving high-speed internet, and our map says that you should be, that's when you want to make sure and let us know. So now, do you have any questions, or how do we do this?
Thank you so much. We do have a question that we would like to ask you. Also, thank you for your presentation. That was wonderful. I've received a lot of information. The question we would like to ask you is exactly what steps should citizens take now regarding high-speed internet challenges?
Okay, so if you don't want to find handouts off this table, did anybody? can grab one if there's one left, because I can tell you exactly how to do so. So in the middle of my handout, there's a little flow chart. And it's going to tell you how to challenge. So under bullet point number 2, it says, do I need to participate? So it says, go to the map and then follow the steps in the chart. So you search your address on our map. And if green, pink, or blue, you don't have to challenge. Green, you're soon going to have high-speed internet. A provider already has internet and they're going to start construction soon if they have it already. If you're pink or blue, we know you're on the list for that part of that 1.2 billion to get access to your home. And if your address is gray and you have high-speed internet, you're good, no challenge needed. But if your house is gray and you don't have high-speed internet, then you need to either do some speed tests or whatever your challenge is. If you call the provider and they say, hey, we don't offer you service, you would do an availability challenge. But like I said, the most common is going to be speed. We know a lot of people pay for a speed that they don't receive. So if your house is gray, you don't have high speed, do some speed tests and get in touch with our office and we'll make sure that you know where to put those and how to do it.
Thank you so much, everybody. Please give a round of applause for being. Thank you for talking to us about high-speed internet. Now let's switch gears a little bit and talk about transportation, MDOT. At this time, we would like to talk to Mississippi Department of Transportation about a couple of things. For our representative of MDOT, would you make your way to the front? And when you do, please introduce yourself with your name, your title, and we'll talk about a couple of questions that we have this evening regarding MDOT.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Moore. I'm the assistant to Commissioner Willie Simmons, and we're glad to be here tonight. Let me say this to Dr. Smith. Thank you again for the invitation, for inviting the City Department of Transportation to be here and give you a synopsis of what we do and what we can and what we are doing in the state of Mississippi. I'm actually an assistant in the Central District, which is District number 5. And let me share some items of concern, or that you may have concern with tonight. Let me say again, thank you again to all of the neighbors association as well as all of the utility companies who are here with us tonight. And in response, I know there have been some questions about lighting on highways in the Jackson area. Let me say some things tonight. Commissioner has listed that safety is the #1 priority for Mississippi Department of Transportation. Beautification is a priority for him, as well as our highways, our bridges that are being working on, and then we're working them very diligently, but safety is our #1 priority. As we keep our interstates and highways, Highway 80 and Highway 18 properties, which are now being lighted, and we keep them moved to the best of our ability. Below here are some of the actions, and I have some pamphlets from the table there at the back. And below on the list is to tell you all just a few of the actions and projects that we have and are currently working on at this time. Number 1, we have paved Interstate 20 from the Stack to Highway 18. We have paved Highway 49 north from Interstate I-220 to the Madison County line. We have paved Highway 18 from Raymond to Claiborne County line. We have paved Highway 22 to Edwards, paved Highway 467 to Bolton, paved Highway 27 from Highway 18 to Utica and to the Copiah County line. Replaced bridge on Highway 27 at Big Black River. Replaced the bridge on Interstate 220. Trimmed the trees on some of our interchanges in Jackson and replaced lighting to give more visibility and safety. Added 3 mowing and trash removal cycles to our contractors, and you can see those on the highway as we speak now. Contract and so we will mow on I-220, I-55, and I-220 6 times annually. We've entered into arrangements and agreements with Sheriff Jones and the City of Jackson, which they can now be reimbursed up to $50,000 annually for removing trash from our interstates and highways in Hinds County. And we all should be glad about that. entered agreement with 2 private contractors who are volunteering to not to be paid by businesses or communities to pick up trash on Highway I-55 and Meadowbrook to County Line Road, Lakeland Drive, and the I-55 corridor up to Pearl River Drive. Lighting on I-20, let me share this with you tonight. We are letting and going into agreement with a contract next month to install new lights on the I-20 corridor near the stack all the way to Highway 18. We're replacing some of the old lights on Interstate 220, and we are considering bidding a contract to look at replacing lights in our Jackson Metro Interstate system. And hopefully, we will reduce the copper bill that we've had on some of the lights that you see that are not working at this time. So also on Highway 80 and on Highway 18, MDOT has an agreement with the City of Jackson to maintain lighting on these corridors in compliance with MDOT standards, because in 2023, MDOT granted a permit to Energy to replace the lights on Highway 18 TV Road to Thousand Oaks Road. This project will be paid for by the City of Jackson. Also on Highway 80 to Highway 18, MDOT has an agreement with the City of Jackson to mow, plant, shrubbery, flowers, and overall maintenance of the right-of-way as permitted by MDOT with prior approval. Highway 80 and 18, MDOT is responsible for the maintenance such as repairs for paving and energy slides and etc. on both sides of the Highway 80 and the Highway 18 corridor up into the City of Jackson limits. We've also funded a TAP program, which I have more information about that. The TAP grant is to help build sidewalks there at Jackson State and a biking trail along the Lynch Street corridor. We've also funded the City of Jackson with TAP grants to build a sidewalk with lights at the Medgar Evers home. Also, we collaborated also with the City of Jackson to get a $20 million grant to enhance the Medgar Evers Drive in Jackson. We've also collaborated with the City of Jackson to allocate funds to rehab Woodrow Wilson Street and I-55 at 5 points to Martin Luther King in Jackson. And please note tonight that our TAP grant application is a process that is open up until September 30th, 2024. So if you need more information, let me give you all the website tonight. It's local public agencies, LPA, ms.gov. Let me repeat it one more time. Local public agencies, LPA, ms.gov. And again, let me say this again, Dr. Please, we thank you so much, Dr. Smith, for allowing us an opportunity to come and share with you. And if there are any questions, feel free to let us know at this time.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause for MDOT, Mississippi Department of Transportation. Really quick, I had a question. You said there was some literature for anyone who was wanting around the room to be able to go to your table and grab some MDOT information. Where was that?
It's actually in the table in the rear. We have information about the TAP grant and all the information that I shared with you tonight. There's more information about that as well. It's on the table in the rear. If there are any other questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you so much. All right, let's keep things moving. Okay, we have already heard from Beam and MDOT. Let's go ahead and move on and talk with Atmos Energy. Atmos Energy, at this time, we can get a representative to come forward.
We get 3.
Ooh, we get 3 representatives to speak with us from Atmos Energy. Would you all please introduce yourselves with your names, your title, and we will go ahead and get right into it. You guys have a presentation? Okay, let me go ahead and get that set up for you guys. Go ahead and say your name and your title, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Roy Moss, and I serve in the role of Vice President of Operations for the southern region of the state, which encompasses the Jackson metro area.
While Ms. Linda's pulling that up, I'm Lynn Dalton. I'm the Industrial Account Manager for the state and marketing.
Good evening, last but not least. My name is Linda Waters. I'm a manager of public affairs with Atlas Energy. So tonight you get let's say a triple dip. You get 3 of us here. So if you have questions, we are prepared to answer the questions. First of all, I'd like to start off with our presentation, but before we do that, just give you a brief introductions. I'm a manager of public affairs. I've been with the company for 28 years. And in public affairs, we establish relationships within the community. We think it's vital and important that as a company that provides service to the communities, that we have relationships not only with agencies, with other organizations, but also have a great connection with the community. So again, we are happy to answer any questions you have tonight. Before we do that, we have our presentation, and we will allow Roy to just tell a little bit about himself, and then Lynn to share a little bit about himself, and then we'll move forward with our presentation. Thank you.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, I serve in the role of Vice President of Operations for the Southern region of the state of Mississippi. I moved here 5 years ago from Dallas, which I served in the role of Director of Operations for the Dallas area as well. Prior to that, I was in Round Rock, Texas, which is a suburb of Austin, and I served in the role of Supervisor of Operations there. I have over 38 years of operations experience and maintaining a natural gas system.
And once again, my name's Lynn Dalton. Been with Atlas for 22 years now. Started in the Delta, started in Cleveland, born and raised there. Moved down to Jackson 6 years ago. It's been a good deal. Everybody moves a little faster down here than they do in the Delta, but that's okay too. Spent most of my time in operations, spent a little time in engineering, and for the last 4 years I've been in marketing now, so good company to work for.
Okay, we'll start with our presentation. As you can see here, we have some numbers here for you, some data, some information to share with you. As I talked about earlier, our vision is to be the safest provider of natural gas services across all of our service areas. And that encompasses providing excellent service for us means making a difference in the communities we serve. As you can see here, we serve about 273,000 customers in the state of Mississippi. We go as far north as close to the south in South Haven, Olive Branch area, east over to the west, over to the Yazoo City area. We go as far as east as Meridian, and then as far south as Lucedale, Mississippi. So as you can see, we kind of cover a various area of the state. We have our 324 employees, and as far as our capital investments, when we talk about capital investments, we're referring to the investments that we're making in the community we serve. Hinds County is one of our biggest service areas. I am a resident of Jackson. So we think it's important to make a difference in the communities we serve, where we live, work, and we play. Next slide, please. We also believe it's vital to establish a relationship with first responders in our communities. Natural gas safety is our highest priority for us. As you can see here, we've sponsored workshops and worked alongside emergency responders in the community to ensure that we have a cohesive relationship so that every time there's an issue, we have that connection and they have the connection with us, because we believe it's vital that we maintain those relationships to make sure that we provide the safe natural gas to the communities. So I'll give it to Roy and let Roy share some more information with you about safety.
And this is a slide that depicts our advanced leak detection technology. This is one of our AMLD vehicles. Now you will not see, and I want to show this one specifically because we have some vehicles like this that have the Atlas Energy name on the vehicle, but this one has Heath Consultants. Heath is one of our contractors. And so if you see this vehicle in your neighborhood, just know that they are looking for natural gas leaks. And we do this frequently, and we do it a lot. So with that being said, Atlas Energy applies state-of-the-art technology for leak detection. We monitor and we prioritize leaks when we find those leaks. And so the AMLD, which is short for Advanced Mobile Leak Detection, it detects at 1,000 times more sensitive than the legacy technology that we have as well. And so to monitor storage and compression facilities, we have some of those, not in this area, but in our northern region, we do use fixed and portable cameras and equipment to detect incidents and issues on those compressors and storage facilities. The next slide just shows third-party damage. I can't talk enough about third-party damage. Third-party damage is the biggest risk to our system. It's folks digging into our line. Most of the time they call, and most of the time they do not. They're covering it up, and that's a problem. And so safe digging starts with calling 811 to have your underground utilities lines marked. That's the first start. And then once you call 811 and get those lines marked, there are digging laws that you have to follow. And especially if you're using mechanized equipment, you have to digging in the tolerance zone. There are laws that excavators must follow. So even homeowners, if you're planting a tree or whatever you're doing, please call 811 because we want to make sure that we locate those lines and no one hits those lines. So next slide, please. And then this is our ambassador, Rosie. So Rosie is a symbol of the, natural gas in its original form has no odor or color. And so we add that odor to the system. So that's a safety measure as well. We add that odor to the system, so if gas is leaking, you can smell it and you can give us a call. And so if you smell gas, and Linda will talk more about that as well, if you smell gas, call 911 and atmosphere so we can get out there and address whatever issue there is. Next slide.
If I just may share a couple of points about calling 811 and calling 911. Pick just back for just a second, just want to share something. One more second. So if you look here, there's a color scheme, a color code. Either you're familiar with paints, like if maybe in your neighborhood, you may see paint markings on the street. That is an indication that work will be taking place soon on your street. And the different colors represent the different utilities that are underground. Now, Roy mentioned calling before you dig. The importance of calling before you dig is so critical to the safety of the community. It's really, safety is a partnership between the utility and the consumers and the customers. Just as important as it is for us to keep the community safe, we tend to hope that our customers and the community will make safety just as much a priority as we do. So calling before you dig is critical. If you're going to put a mailbox in, call before you dig. Anytime you're going into your yard and you're going to dig at any point, you want to call. You don't want to hit a line and hit a water line. There goes the hot water. There goes your neighbor's hot water. And you're going to have someone upset with you because you didn't call before you made those decisions to dig. So it's really important, and we really encourage everyone to make it a priority before you dig in your yard to call. And just be a little patient. It may take time because, as you see, across the state, there's a lot of work that's going on. A lot of companies trying to perform work, so it may take a little time. So give it 48 hours. 48 hours to allow someone, a trained technician, to come out and mark where the utilities are. And it's so important. It's really to keep you safe and the community safe. So Lynn's going to talk a little bit about what your community looks like, because you can't see the natural gas lines that lead to your house. But we're going to have a demonstration here that's going to talk a little bit about that with you.
Yeah, just to tag along with what Ms. Linda said, looking at the slides, this is a basic example that we see in most all neighborhoods. And if you see on this slide here, it helps me to walk around like tall guys, sorry. The blue line here, that's a gas main. That's going to be running down most every street, and then it's going to be a little bit bigger, and then it's going to narrow down a little bit. It's going to be a service going to your house, and then you've got a gas meter up there. That's just kind of the basics of how it works. One of our goals here tonight is kind of educate y'all a little bit about how the gas system works. So you do know to call 911, I mean not 911, you call 811. You know, so we know, hey, we can come out there and help you. If you have any questions, come see me after we get through here. Next slide.
So here is a photo of what we call our Fueling Safe and Thriving Communities initiative. When I talk about giving back to communities, we have 3 pillars that we really tend to focus on when we give support back to the community. The 3 are the kids, our heroes, and our neighbors. Fueling bright minds for healthy futures, focusing on kids. Atlas Energy supports a number of organizations across the state to support literacy. One in particular, 3rd grade gate literacy. Any of you familiar with 3rd grade gate literacy? What that is focusing is kids must read at a certain level in order to move to the next level. So when they're in that 3rd grade, they must read at the 3rd grade level before they can go to the next grade. Just imagine what happens to those kids who are passed on. That's really being set up for a future that's not so bright. So we support organizations that support literacy. We give back to the communities if it's related to children and their capabilities of learning and growing, because they are the future for our state. So we think it's important to give back to kids. Fueling, honor, and thanks for our community heroes. We partner with police departments and emergency responders and the fire departments to ensure that, again, we have a cohesive relationship so that we can make sure that we provide the safe natural gas service to your home, to your communities. Fueling hope and growth for our neighbors, senior citizens. We have to honor and respect those who have, lived more than we have. I can say I am kind of there. I'm over that 50 mark, but we tend to focus on making sure that we support senior citizens and organizations and activities that lend support to those who we believe are in need. So Atlas gives millions of dollars every year to support our kids, our heroes, and our neighbors. I can share more information with you at our table in the back once we're done. If you have questions, we're going to know. Next slide, please. See, this is an example of how we're stuck on giving.
I will say that the employees that are on these slides are actual employees of that city, so they're not paid actors or anything.
All right, guys, I know y'all can't see this. We'll go ahead and move forward a little bit since we're having technical difficulties. The next slide, if we ever get there to it, is exceptional customer service.
So this slide depicts our efforts with energy assistance. We partner with the Salvation Army and United Way and other agencies across the state to lend support where support is needed. This is an image here of one of our employees at a recent blitz that we had, where we offered support to over 600 households in Mississippi. There's another blitz that's coming up. As you can see here, we've asked that you not contact the Salvation Army just yet. Plans are underway for us to partner with them so we can provide additional assistance across the community with dollars in need with energy bills. Next slide, please.
All right, 2 more guys and we'll be done here. Exceptional customer service. Atlas's vision is to be the safest natural gas provider, providing excellent customer service, be a great employer, and provide superior financial results. Well, number 1, safety. Y'all heard us talk about safety the whole time we've been up here. But number 2 is the customer service thing. If you notice on there, it's the number 1 ranked ACSI 2024 study. We go do this study all around, and we actually rank #1 in that. We've got some phone numbers on here if y'all want to write them down. You can, of course, find them on atmosenergy.com. If you want to give us a call, whatever we need to do, we're here to help, whatever we can do.
If I may share one quick tip about one of the phone numbers, so if you smell gas, call me.
If you smell gas, call what number? It's 3 digits. Call first. If you smell it, if 911. If you smell gas, call 911. And call our emergency line, which is 866-32-ATMOS. 866-32-ATMOS. And that's 866-322-8667. So that's one of the ways that we hope that we can help you remember the emergency line is 1-866-32-ATMOS.
Last slide. One of the things, guys, if y'all ever need or want to replace an appliance, know that we have rebates available out there. This is a list of some of them that we have. You replace a furnace, you can get up to $600 back. Tankless water heaters up to $350. Tank water heaters $100. Clothes dryers $100, and smart thermostat up to $100. One of the things I want to point out before I let you go here is last year alone we have 4,332 customers on appliance rebates. 600 of them participated in a no-cost in-home energy audit. So if you think you need something help, give us a call. If you're one of our customers, we'll send someone out to actually do an energy audit at your house. The other thing is we did 2,000 smart energy kits that also help along with those audits, whether it's aerators or weather stripping or other things in your house to make it more energy efficient. The last thing I'll leave you with is we've also got a Smart Choice Assist program. We have 358 families in Mississippi that we would consider at risk, and we replaced 290 either failing or failed appliances at no cost to that customer. So that is it for us. I'm sure you have a question for us.
First of all, thank you guys so much for the information. Can we get a round of applause for Atmos? Thank you. Now, you guys can go ahead and take your seats, but you're not off the hook yet. I got some questions. So y'all can go ahead and take your seats up here at the panel, because I know that the media's got some microphones up there, and they might want to get the audio of the question. So take that with you, the microphone. Yes. Okay, so I have a question about something that happened here in Jackson that some of you may have heard about. January 24th and 27th, reports came forth about 2 homes that exploded in South Jackson. It was determined that a faulty natural gas pipeline was the issue. Can you please talk to us, one of the 3 of you, about how likely it is for something of this nature to happen again in South Jackson or any area of the city? Representative from Entergy, come on up, and if you would, introduce yourself with your name and your title and talk to us about Entergy. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Victoria Love. I am the customer service manager for Entergy here in the Jackson area. First, I'll start by saying that safety is a core value every day and everything that we do at Entergy. So street lights have been a major topic of discussion here in Jackson. So I will say that we do realize that streetlights play a very important part in safety with visibility in Jackson. So we do rely on the community to report these lights to us. So we do ask that you guys reach out to us. If you see a street light out, we do ask that you reach out to us to report those lights. There are several ways that you can report those lights. We do have a mobile app that you can download to report the lights out. You can also report those lights out on our website. So if you download the app or you go on the website, on the app, there's a GPS location symbol. If you have your location services on your app, if you click that symbol, it'll pull up all of the lights in your area, right around you. You can click on the light, click on that symbol of the light, put in your notations. It's good to put in if the light is completely out, if the light is blinking, if it's on throughout the day, whatever comments that you need to put on there so that they'll know what's going on with that light when they come out. And submit that ticket in. If you're on the website, you'll have to type in the address, and then it will also pull up those symbols of the light. You can click on whatever light that's closest to the location that you're reporting. Also, you can, for anyone who doesn't want to do it online, you can also report a light out over the phone by dialing 1-800-9-OUTAGE. So there's several ways you can report those lights out. So we're just asking that the community reach out to us to report those lights out. We do have crews that go out and do night patrol and on the major roads to find lights that are out to get those lights fixed. But inside of the community, inside of the neighborhoods, we do look for residents to report those lights out. So we do ask that you all assist us with that to get those lights reported. Also, we have some handouts on our table that has a QR code that you can scan to download our mobile app to report street lights out. We also have some handouts for our new Build Toolkit. And with that Build Toolkit, it has different resources. It's like a one-stop shop for customers. It has resources for billing options. It gives you different information for paying your bill, different information for assistant agencies, for our parents care, Lucky. It's like a single-stop shop. So please stop by our table to pick up those two pieces of information as well. I do know that we have a couple of questions that Dr. Smith had for us, so.
Yes, you can go ahead and take your seat at this time. Thank you so much. And I know that there is a microphone over there that we will ask you a couple of questions while you take your seat. And then we will move on to our next presenter. Thank you so much. Can we get a round of applause for our latest presenter? That was Entergy. Okay, so some questions that we had for Entergy. Is the microphone over there on? Everybody can hear? Okay, we're going to talk about some recent city council meetings, and the mayor has talked about how Entergy has street light repair lists for the city of Jackson, and we were wondering how often is it released, where and how is it shared with the public, and is it possible to have a document with the city so that updates can be relayed in real time?
Okay, yes, so we do have a street light list that we will be presenting to the mayor's communications team. We will be presenting that list once a month, and we will be giving it to the communications team, and they will be distributing that list. I'm not sure how they plan on distributing that list, but it will be up to them how that list will be distributed.
Thank you. Some questions about the status of 311 regarding reporting online and calling in. You know, we also have some folks who are not exactly the most tech savvy, myself included. As you can see, we've had some trouble up here, and I'm not the one to figure out all of our technical difficulties. But for those of us who want to report streetlights, and maybe the app isn't for us because we're not the most tech savvy, what other communication methods can we use to get in touch for streetlight outage reporting?
You can report those through calling 1-800-9-OUTAGE or by calling the 1-800-ENTRY number.
Thank you. And my last question was, the Neighborhood Services Division receives several calls each month regarding the outages, and residents often inform NSD that they are told by Entergy that the pole belongs to Jackson, the city of Jackson. Sometimes the resident says that the city of Jackson told them they don't have any streetlight poles. Can you give a distinction between the city of Jackson's lights and Entergy lights and the Department of Transportation lights?
Oh, now it can be hard to distinguish between the different lights. So the best thing would be to call Entergy to report the lights out and to let us come out and check the lights. If it is an Entergy light, then we will repair the light. If it's not an Entergy light, then usually we will notify the city of Jackson, if it is a light that is out, it is the city of Jackson light. But the best thing to do is to report the light to us.
Thank you so much. All right, let's go ahead and move on to, I believe this will be our last presenter of the evening, Jackson Water. Jackson Water, at this time, if you would make your way to the front. And we'll ask you to introduce yourself with your name and your title.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aisha Carson. I am the lead communications officer at Jackson Water. I've probably been in this role for almost 2 months now. I'm about over a decade resident of Jackson, so I am an actual customer of Jackson Water, and have worked alongside Ted Hennepin since about January of 2023. I know a lot of people as customers, have interacted with the new Jackson Water, have had questions about what we're up to. I'm going to try as best I can in this 10-minute presentation to really give you an overview of what we're doing now. I have some posters here at our back table that give some small examples of some things that we have going on. But I want to give you an overview of some of our biggest projects that we have in the stabilization of the water system, and also some ways to engage and to talk about a few challenges that have definitely been impacting customers and community members, and exactly what we're doing about some of those challenges that exist in the community. Okay, so first and foremost, what is the status of major water system repairs? A huge part of the priority projects, which are the projects that are listed on our website, the projects that are, back up a little bit, Jackson Water is the interim third-party operation that is tasked with the rehabilitation of the water system and also the operations and billing for Jackson Water customers. And we're also in charge of wastewater. We do not handle stormwater. I know that's a question that we get a lot in community. We do wastewater services and also water services. So a huge part of that is improving plant operations. That is something that we're consistently doing every day. We are testing at the plant, we're testing out in the distribution system, we are testing for corrosion, we're testing for all different sorts of things that make sure the water that you get is safe. But we're also implementing several different changes at our treatment plant that allow us to do that consistently. That consists of winterization efforts, which we're very happy to say that were mostly completed this past winter. Also our corrosion control plan that includes updated chemical feed systems to make sure that we're able to run both of our traditional and membrane at the O.B. Curtis plant at the same time, and also increasing the capacity at the water plant. Right now, we have increased capacity by almost 13 million gallons a day, which is very great for us. But that also means that we are losing, if you can go to the next slide, we're still losing a lot of water in our distribution system. And as customers and residents of the city, we know that you see that from time to time. So a huge part of the work we're doing is the find and fixing leaks throughout the system. It's called our Find and Fix Leak program. Right here at the back, when you walk by our table, you'll see a map that shows all of the leaks that have been fixed to date based on our last quarterly report. But we fixed about 2,500 water leaks today across the city. That is a huge, great feat. That means that we've stopped some water from leaking. But if you know anything about pipes, especially old pipes, when you fix one break and it causes the pressure to increase, then a pipe that was used to just getting a trickle of water is now getting a lot of water, and now it might break too. So as many leaks as we fix throughout the system, we've also had to pressurize, we've had to leak detect to figure out how that's impacting the rest of the system. So even though we fixed 2,500 leaks, we're constantly managing our assets in the system, studying our assets in the system. I'll get to the GIS portion later, to be able to better track, report, and repair leaks. This is an ongoing process. So with opportunities and advancement come challenges, right? We fixed 2,500 leaks, but that also meant we left 2,500 holes in the ground, right? In addition to the sewer work that we were doing. One of the things that you heard Ted Henfield speak, you probably heard him talk about our commitment to local and minority contractors on the projects that we're working on, which is a great, great investment for the city of Jackson. And our local contractors are a huge part of our find and fix leak effort, right? So initially, we started fixing all the leaks in the community, the ones that were previously reported, the ones that you all were calling into the call center. We started to triage those leaks. We started to fix the big transmission line leaks on huge lines that might have caused a lack of pressure to entire neighborhoods. And then we're also fixing the small leaks that impact maybe 5 houses on the street. When this happens, our local contractors come behind and they pave the leaks. We got so excited, our contractors were really ambitious. We wanted to plug all of the leaks everywhere. And over time, because of weather and different constraints, our local contractors got behind with some of the paving. So since then, and since we have experienced a lot of backlog of being able to pay over utility cuts, we've drastically increased our investment when it comes to paving. We've had to bring in larger commercial contractors to be able to fill that gap so we can be responsive to the need of being able to get faster and faster with completing our repair from detecting the leak all the way to the completion and the pavement of the project. Another part is asset mapping, and I spent a lot of time there because I know that's a huge question that's coming up in community. One of the big, huge indicators of improving our ability to be able to respond to issues that happen in the system is having the system being properly mapped using GIS. This is a technical term which means that the maps exist in the computer. So when something goes wrong, if a valve is malfunctioning, if water pressure is decreased in one part of the system, we can now see that on an electronic map. When we started this about 1.5 years ago, that map didn't exist. It was all paper maps and books maps from across the city. So since then, our contractors have come in, helped us get to 98% completion on our GIS mapping, which means now, in the past 6 months, we've had a map to be able to refer to all of our techs in the field, our call center agents at the office, all by looking at the same map that's giving them indicators about what's happening in our system. That has helped us become faster and faster and faster over time in responding to leaks and helping us get the water back on after we've repaired something. So I know if you're a customer, you might have experienced us doing construction on your street. We had to turn it off. Took us a while to turn it back on. We're getting quicker and quicker with that process. Go to the next slide, I'm sorry. Quicker and quicker with that process. I wanted to go over this because I know this is a big question for customers. This is our process for fixing a leak. First, we assess it. Everything really starts to a call to our call center. Even Ted himself, if he sees a leak out in the community, is going to the call center first because that's how we triage in our GIS system, how we can get folks out to investigate that leak as quickly as possible. We assign a contract crew. The utility comes to locate, which can take up to 48 hours. We need to make sure that everybody is able to locate their line around that leak. We isolate the line, which means we turn off valves on that street to cut the water off as much as we possibly can. We repair. Sometimes we fully replace the pipe. Sometimes we put a clamp on that pipe. Depending on what type of leak it actually is, there are different ways that we use to repair. We determine if a boil water notice is needed. You haven't received a citywide boil water notice in a while. The notices that we usually do on Nextdoor and on our website are because we're repairing things, and there's a street or two streets where the water is going off, we repaired a pipe, and we put that notice there because we want to make sure there's no debris, nothing in those pipes, and there's nothing that can impact you, and we want to let you know we interrupted this line so if you can boil your water for the next couple of days because there is a repair that has happened. Recharge the line, which basically means get water back flowing through the line, get it back active. Flush to remove any debris or discolored water. This is really important because sometimes you all see hydrants just gushing water throughout the system. There have been times where sometimes, yes, those hydrants are broke, but sometimes when we need to flush a line, we have to aggressively use the hydrant to flush all of that dirty water that might have come up from the repair out of the line. We backfill with appropriate material, which is the gravel that's in the utility cut that you might see. We lab test to make sure everything around where we fix the water is at the appropriate quality. And then the paving and yard restoration is the absolute last step. Next up for us, especially on the distribution side, is increased leak detection. We know that there are still leaks out in the community. We haven't taken care of all of them. Like I said, we're still pressurizing the system and figuring out when we fix one thing, does it cause an impact on another part of the system, and having our crews respond to that as quickly as possible. We still have a lot of water loss. Based on our studies, we still have about 20 million gallons, 15 to 20 million gallons that we are just losing somewhere in our system because of leaks we haven't discovered or because of different things that could cause water loss. So over time, through this stabilization effort, we're hoping to increase water capacity across the system and also plug in other leaks. Better paving and restoration. We know that's something that we have to get better at, and we also have to get better at the quality and safety of that work. So making sure people understand that this particular area is waiting complete paving and restoration with proper cones to make sure our contractors know to make sure those areas are carefully marked. And also asking our community to understand our water system, we've moved from a place of crisis, but we're still a community in repair. So be patient with us, be on the lookout for crews in your neighborhood, and be diligent about utility patches when you see them from afar to make sure they don't cause any harm to you or your vehicle. We do have a claims process. I will give you the customer service number. If you are impacted by one of our utility cuts, you can call that customer service number and they will initiate a claim with us, and we will investigate said claim. Our claims department will get back to you and your claim will be processed. Major milestones, I'll go through this quickly just for the water system. Like I said, we increased our capacity at both plants. That means when we're doing work at O.B. Curtis, we can use JH Fuel to flex some water from there, something that we previously couldn't do. So we've increased our capacity to be able to handle different issues that pop up with the system. We have lowered our pump pressure, which is great for conservation. We restored our storage operations, which means that our storage tanks actually have water to pressurize our system. We restored transmission line function, which means that areas all the way in South Jackson get better water flow because our transmission lines are in a better place. And of course, asset management, which is the GIS system I talked about. Making sure we know where all of our water and wastewater assets are underground, how they're interacting with each other, and how we can best operationalize those to benefit the system. I want to quickly talk about this because this repair is being finalized right now, finished right now in South Jackson. But it's a huge part of the stabilization of the system, and that is the small diameter pipe replacements. We have about 100 miles in Jackson of 2-inch line pipes, right? They're about the size of that white pipe. This is not the standard size. The standard size now is 6 to 8 inch. So there are 100 miles in this small diameter pipe that are impacting the amount of water pressure that people can receive. Our master plan says that 100 miles of that pipe needs to be replaced in Jackson, but we actually started on the first mile in the South Willowbrook, South Jackson neighborhood to replace those 2-inch pipes with 6-inch pipes. As you can see from this picture, it's a trench that has to be dug a mile long in the neighborhood to then for the contractors to go in and replace the pipe. It significantly improves water pressure to neighborhoods, and it also is much, much better fire hydrant performance. We started in that side of town first because that's the side of town that historically has experienced the lowest water pressure because the water has to get from the plant all the way to those areas. And so this is, we just did 1 mile, and that 1 mile cost roughly about $5 million, right? So we have 100 miles of that to go. That is something that we'll be doing for the next 20 years in Jackson, is replacing those 2-inch water lines with 6-inch water lines. take us a while to get to all of the neighborhoods, but it's something that has the most impact for customers and one of our most important projects. Lastly, improving customer service and billing. This is our new meter. Most of you probably have one. 98% of the system has one. And it is an analog meter that communicates directly to us on an hourly basis about your water usage. Like I said, we replaced 98% of these in the system, and they communicate directly with our technology so that we can give you assistance with day-by-day readings of your water meter. You can tell when there's a leak on the meter. It'll show you directly to help your plumber address any issues with your water leaks. And more importantly, it gives us more accurate usage of your water for better billing and more efficient billing process. Upcoming improvements. I'll go over this briefly. As you all have heard in this presentation, there have been a lot of changes that we made to really bring the system to a point that we can be more predictive. Right now, in the past, we've been very responsive. If something breaks, we have to get to it. We can triage a little bit. We can fix the things that we know need to be fixed long term, but we've been very reactive. So we haven't been able to give you a heads up about when we'll be in your neighborhood. We haven't been able to give you a heads up about when we'll be in your street. But now we're at the place where the GIS system is more complete. We can be more predictive about our work and be able to give people the heads up that they've been wanting about when we'll actually be in their neighborhood. So the last quarter of this year, we'll be launching our text and email notifications so that you'll get your board water notices in several different ways and not just through our Nextdoor app or online. And we also have kiosk payment centers that will pop up throughout town. We have about 10 of them on the way, and they are cash paid. You can use cash, card. It's just another accessible way for people to be able to pay their bill in real time. Ways to engage, follow us on Facebook. We have a quarterly meeting every quarter that goes over our financials, updates on our projects, our upcoming projects. We have public comment periods for all of our major projects. Jackson Water Academy, our new community-facing academy. You can come and learn deep dive into the things that we're doing. You can invite a Jackson Water spokesperson to your neighborhood association meeting. That's a speaker request on our website. And you can also visit Jackson Water for our traffic advisory, board water notices, and all of our latest press releases. And I think I'll stop there. I do want to just leave this here and just say, everything, we do not have an office anymore that people can come to actually have their issues resolved. Everything really starts with our call center. That is the triage that we use with our tech system, our operational system, so that we can all communicate at once. If I get a request from somebody, I call the call center. It's just the best way for us to be able to triage all of our issues. We understand that might be difficult at times. We try to keep our wait times low. I tell community folks to keep calling. That's data for us. If we have a lot of calls and not a lot of call center reps, we can increase our resources, but the more people we have calling, if you have a problem with a call, we'll respond to that, but it's best that you use the call center line no matter what. And I'll just stop there, because I know we've been talking for a while.
Thank you so much. Can we get a round of applause for Jackson Water? Quick question for Jackson Water. This question says, why can't we pay the water bill through the bank? The water, instead of other places that are not as accessible. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading the handwriting. I'm trying my best. I believe this says, why can't I pay the water bill through a bank? I'm not quite sure of the question. What I think is getting at is payment accessibility, which is one of the things that I talked about. We've increased our ways to pay in terms of our retail locations, Walmart, Kroger's. We've increased those across the board. I encourage everyone to set up an online account with some information about how you can do that in the back to give you more information about your bill and your account. I'm sorry, what was it? For ways to pay. Like I said, we do have kiosks coming that you will actually be able to pay cash at different locations. I think Medical Mall,
Big Star, so a few places that we've already agreed to have those kiosks across town. But there'll be a place where people can actually come and pay cash, and there'll be one in every single ward. Other than that, if you have any questions specifically about other ways to pay, you can meet me at the back and I can try to understand exactly what you're saying.
Yes, because I think this is a question that needs a little bit more one-on-one time just to make sure that we have everything clarified. The next question for Jackson Water was about the water at their homes still not being fit to drink out of the tap. How can that issue be addressed?
Right, so there are several, one thing is for certain. If you experience any brown water in your home or any water that smells funny or anything like that, call our customer service line because we have a water investigation team that comes and does water investigation calls where they'll come, they'll test the water on your street to see if there's any issue with the water that's coming from the street. There are times, and we have some resources on our website, I don't have them here with me tonight, there are times where residents' service line or the fixtures in their home are causing a discoloration of their water. I'll give you an example. We had a water investigation call that we tested everything around the home, we tested the street. It was actually the hot water heater that was actually causing the water to be brown. So it's not all, we have 160 sites that we test every 2 weeks for water quality, right? Everywhere out in the distribution system. And those tests come back to us. You all often get water quality reports, you get violations when there's something in that testing. But if your water is brown, it smells funny, anything like that, call a call center and we will do a water investigation call. Sometimes it's not because of the water coming from the system, it's because of the fixtures that are in your home or your service line that goes from your street, your lateral that goes from your street to your home. So there are several different things that can cause issues with the water quality in your home outside of the water coming from us. But it's important that you call us no matter what so we can do that water investigation.
Thank you so much. And we do have, I believe, one more presentation before we open up the floor for Q&A. I'm sorry? We have one more.
Hour and a half, and this person, I think most of us came here to ask questions of, is that right?
Can we finish our last presenter and then open the floor for open questions? We have one more presenter, Louis Wright from the Parks and Rec Department is here. The City of Jackson.
Good evening, my name is Louis Bryan, I'm Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Jackson. I know you came for a utilities conference and a question and answer period, so I won't take up the time to explain what I do. I'll let you get your questions answered and ask your questions and get those answered. I'll be around, so if you have any questions for the City of Jackson, I'll be here to answer those as well. Okay? Is that okay?
Okay, Parks and Recreation. What is the status of parks prepared for the safety of the constituents in the areas to be able to use the parks effectively?
We are working on making repairs to our parks and recreation, keeping the grass cut, improving the lighting in those areas, the fields and all of those kinds of things, the restrooms, the clubhouses, and all of those different components of parks and rec. We are in that process of doing that, and there are some specifically that we are working on. We want to build them back up to the state that they were in. One is in the North Jackson area, Grove Park. It used to be just a complete center for, in terms of youth services, baseball, tennis, swimming pool. We're getting back to doing just that. Forest Hill is another. So we're looking at all of our parks, trying to bring them up to speed in terms of making them places where our youth and adults can congregate and have the quality of life that the citizens of Jackson so desperately deserve.
And our final question was, what are some of the current projects for the 1% money in each ward that are being worked on as we speak?
That's a good question in terms of 1%. There's several projects that 1% is working on. Many of them are bridges, roads, repaving. One of the big projects that we're working on is repaving of neighborhood streets. We do a lot of thoroughfare repaving, but we've asked neighborhoods to tell us some of the streets that are in their area that are in need of repair. We have started that process. We're moving around the city in order to make those repairs or repaving of those streets. So if you have any streets that you say that are just in real bad shape, just see me after the meeting, and we'll make sure that they get on the list.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Mr. Wright. All right, and thank you to all of our presenters. Can we get a round of applause for everybody who spoke today? A round of applause for Beam, Atlas, Entergy, MDOT, Jackson Water, and the City of Jackson. We will go ahead and ask them the questions, and then we'll open up the floor for the additional questions for presenters and go over our information and resources before we adjourn. This question is for Atlas Energy. What was Atlas' investment in gas line maintenance in the City of Jackson the 2 years prior to the houses exploding in January of 2024?
Yes, that's a very good question. I do not have that exact number of the investment prior to, but I do know that we continue to invest in the City of Jackson. We plan to invest $85 million this fiscal year, and historically, our capital spending has increased year over year, historically. And so I think that for the sake of, I don't have the numbers with me, but for the sake of the conversation, I think that number was pretty close to what we are planning to spend this fiscal year.
Thank you. The next question is also for Atlas Energy. Can you provide more information about how individuals can apply for the Smart Start program?
I have information in the back at the table regarding that program, and if they would like to elaborate on that, we have information in the back.
Really no elaboration. Come see us when we get through. It's called the Atlas Energy Smart Choice Program. Come see us when we get through, and I'll give you some details.
I think I have the answer to your next question as well, because it's asking about the process of applying for rebates. Should they also speak with you at the Atlas table afterwards?
Yeah, you can come see me there, or it's, if you get on our website, atlasenergy.com, just type in Mississippi and you'll see in the search bar, you'll see Smart Choice rebates. You can fill them out online, the phone number back there if you want to fill those out. I mean, if you want to call, whichever you want to do.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm trying to read y'all's handwriting. Just bear with me, okay? I don't have the best handwriting either, but we're gonna make it work. This question, I believe, is for Entergy and or Atlas Energy. It says, I'm having so much trouble with this Entergy. I'm having so much trouble with my Entergy bill being overcharged every month. I need help. I only get a certain amount each month, and of that, I'm having to pay an excessive amount every month. I need help now. So someone needs help with their bill. They feel they're being excessively charged. What can we do to combat that?
Okay, we have several financial assistance agencies that we do donate money to. We have the HEAP program, Full Power to Care, that we have information on our website that we can look up that assist with bill paying. There is also information online, and it's also on our bill toolkit that's on our table that gives you information that help give you things that you can do inside your home that help save energy, like changing out your air filter, and give you things, examples of where you can set your thermostat or different things that you can do in your home to help lower your costs. So there are some things on our website, on that bill toolkit that you can do to help lower your costs. Also, our financial assistance agencies are also listed on that bill toolkit that can help you. And also you can read me at the table. I can help you, look on your account for you, you can give your information, I can look that up for you.
Yeah. This person did provide their contact information, so I will go ahead and
Yeah,
give that
and
to
if
you.
you're still here, just meet me after that table, we can talk to you one-on-one.
This question is for the city of Jackson. It says repairs were made to the drain lines in front of my house and the sidewalk was removed. Well, a leak at my water meter has been present ever since. I was told they would fix the leak and replace the sidewalk, but that has yet to happen. Who can I contact to get this issue fixed? City of Jackson, Jackson Water. Yeah, it says there's a leak at the water meter.
Okay. If you ask this question, you're experiencing a leak at the water meter, if you can see me, at the back table when we close, or if you won't stay long, there's actually a customer care form. If you could fill out your address and say that there's a leak at the water meter, I can give that, to our customer care team and have someone respond to that.
Okay. Is it possible for whoever wrote these questions, are you comfortable coming up to ask if I can't read your handwriting? I want to make sure the information is communicated. I just also don't want to mess up your question. This one is selected for the city of Jackson, and it says they have a double bill for July and August. They need to prove their June payment was made. What should they do? So they're being charged twice as though they didn't pay a previous bill.
Is this a Jackson Water question?
It's checked for the city of Jackson, but I'm assuming it's a water bill.
Right, it might be a water bill. Again, if you are having billing issues, I won't really respond to your exact account, but if you can fill out that form that's on the back table, it says customer care form, and give me your address and account number, I can have a customer care lead follow up with you individually. If it's some issue with your bill, or if you've gotten double billed, and I can have someone look at your account and follow up with that directly, because I can't look at your account here.
Thank you. What is the percent of calculation on services rendered? This is for the city of Jackson. It doesn't have any other information. Services rendered for, I just need a little bit more information so we can get the question answered. We'll have to come back to this. This one is also for the city of Jackson. The question is, does the GIS system help determine water leaks?
Yes and no, to an extent. There is an error that we can see in the GIS system, but we use pressurization. We have leak detection software, contracting company that does leak detection software, which is basically a sensor that can go around much like the gas detection and sense wet spots in the ground. To be honest, a lot of our leak detection comes from customers who report, which is a very, very great tool for us. Because we aren't on every street, we aren't in every neighborhood. So if you see water flowing, especially when it is dry outside, that could be an indication of a leak nearby. And if you call it into the call center, somebody will be there to investigate.
And the second part of the question was, what steps are taken to determine whether a leak should be fixed now versus waiting until later to prevent further damage?
Right, so we triage our leaks all the time. Transmission lines, they can be up to 24-inch lines, huge lines. Those lines can prevent water pressure from getting to an entire section of the city, an entire neighborhood. I'll give you an example. There was a fire recently in the city. Fighting that fire took a lot of water. That means it's pulling from a line that's also coming from neighborhoods. So we had to work to make sure the water was stable in order to do that. So we're triaging. If there's a huge leak that's causing water pressure to impact large parts of the system, we're going to fix that first. And that does mean that sometimes it takes us longer to get to the neighborhood leaks, but we are making note of them, call them in. We're definitely going to get to them, but we do want to take care of the bigger lines or the bigger issues that can cause more long-term issues for both customers and for just the efficacy of our system.
Thank you. The next question is for NDOT. What is being done to prevent copper theft from occurring in the future as it relates to interstate lighting? Will you utilize deer cameras or some type of camera surveillance to observe this issue?
Actually, as it relates to copper theft, we're actually updating the lighting system that will be lit next month. So it'll be hard for these companies to actually get and copper out the new lighting system. We're using a solar system, so it'll be a lot better.
Thank you. Next question, I believe, is for Atmos Energy. What is the collaboration with the City of Jackson and allocated funds to rehab Woodrow Wilson from 5 Points to MLK? Can streetlights be added? Energy? Okay, so the first part is, what is the collaboration with the City of Jackson and allocated funds to rehab Woodrow Wilson from 5 Points to MLK? That's for MDOT, oh, sorry, City of Jackson was selected. So MDOT, can you answer? What is the collaboration with the City of Jackson and the allocated funds to rehab Woodrow Wilson from 5 Points to MLK? And then part 2 of the question asks, can streetlights be added?
Louis Wright, City of Jackson. We are working now to rehab Woodrow Wilson from 5 Point to MLK. And within that rehabbing of that section, new streetlights will go in. We're working with entity now in terms of getting the right of way that is needed in order to put in the new light, and that's in that area. We're also working on upgrading the $20 million grant, raised grant from 5 Point up to Ridgeway at the Mega Evans home, Ridgeway, right in that area. We're rehabbing that street as well with a new lighting system as well.
Thank you so much. I hope that answered the question. The next question is about Jackson Water. What is the $40 water availability charges that have started appearing on statements the past few months? I actually saw this on Facebook and have the answer, so I want to make sure I know what I think I know. And the second part of the question is there a detailed plan to address the, let's say, 100 miles instead of throwing out random numbers?
Okay, so for can you explain the first question again? The availability charge, right?
Yes, what is the extra $40 availability charge?
At the first quarter of this year, our rate structure for Jackson Water changed. The $40 availability charge is based on the fixed cost that it takes to operate the water system. And I'll explain a little bit of context. Previously, the amount of money that we were generating was not enough to handle the costs we knew were associated with running the water system, which means that we were automatically in the red based on the revenue no matter what, because we knew the cost to run the system was higher than what we were generating with revenue. We do have funds that we have to apply to the specific priority projects that are in the federal order. So the money has to be allocated to plant fixes, to distribution fixes, to create the reliability and sustainability of the system. But we also have to stabilize our finances so we're not in the red and we're able to take in enough to continue the sustainability and the operation of the system long term. And so it was decided that the rate structure would include a $40 availability charge that is based on the fixed cost that it takes to get water to your home no matter what. There's a certain dollar amount that it takes for the plants to keep running, for folks to keep getting paid at work, for technicians to continue to do water investigations. There's a fixed cost associated with that. And that ensures that we're able to make enough revenue to be in the black. Now, the water consumption charge, which was what your bill was previously based on, has decreased to just $6 per gallon. So you pay a $40 availability charge, and you also pay for the water that you're using at $6 per cubic, because per cubic gallons, I forgot the exact measurement. So that $40 availability charge plus your consumption is your water bill. Across the board, for some folks that didn't show about a 10 to 15% increase in your water bill, but also I want to say that there has been folks who've gotten extremely high bills for several different reasons, right? You have a new meter, and in a lot of ways, the old meters that did not work is like having a car with a check engine light dashboard that doesn't work. So when you get the new meter, it shows a lot of lights and things happening because the old meter wasn't giving us enough information to say if you had a leak or to say if something was going on with your property. And so you might get a high bill because your meter is showing high consumption. We do adjustments for that. So don't freak out, don't get too much anxiety. If you get a high bill, you call the call center, they say you have a leak, because once it's fixed, we'll adjust your bill and you won't owe that huge balance. But yes, the availability charge is a fixed rate, and we actually have a handout on the back table that goes into detail about what the availability charge is. But that $40 fixed fee for 5/8 meters, which is what residential meters mostly are, it's just a fixed operational cost that has been determined that it takes to run the system. And that $40 charge is on, everybody with that size meter has that same charge, and then the consumption charge is much lower than the previous charge to try to balance out that on your water bill. We know that seeing that availability charge for people has been a bit alarming, but the increase in your bill should have been average across the board about 10 to 15%. If you have seen an exorbitant bill, or if you haven't gotten a bill from month to month, or if for any reason you think that you do not have a new meter, I would encourage you to fill out that customer care form with your address and account number so we can further look into that particular issue.
Thank you.
Is there a complaint provision or phone number for complaints? Because when you call the general number, they say that there's no way you can complain.
In terms of complaining about like a leak or a charge, are the charges inaccurate?
Yes.
Like it's showing that your bill is too high, or that your water consumption is
Still
off?
have a leak, and there is no leak.
Okay, that is something that you will have to work out through the call center. Now, if you have a plumber that came out and can, talk to the call center, they'll walk you through that exact process. But sometimes we have to communicate with the exact plumber, because if it's showing on your leak, it's showing on your meter that there's a leak, but he's saying there's not a leak, there is some dysfunction that we need to work out in order to make sure you're getting an accurate reading. So again, I would say that complaint definitely still needs to come through our call center, but I would encourage you to fill out a form so I can make sure that gets to one of our customer care leads.
Thank you. I believe you had a question, and if you would read it so that I don't mess up, you have it free.
My name is Iman Thompson. I'm with the Greater South Jackson Improvement Association. We have several streets in our community that has poor lighting for energy. What is the process of us trying to get lighting in those areas? We do our best to keep it clean. I'm talking about Lakeshore Drive in South Jackson. We clean it, but it's so dark through there. Every time we clean it, they come to tires and all this stuff. What's the process of us getting lighting in those areas where we do nothing?
You're trying to get new lighting put in,
No lighting there at all.
so those requests would have to go through the city of Jackson. You would have to reach out to the city of Jackson, and they would have to reach out to us, to get lighting put in the area.
Thank you. We have a couple of other questions before we open up the floor, and then we're trying to get out of here on time at 8 o'clock. Did you have a question in the back? Here I come.
Just basically what happened, I lost my voice.
Here I come. That's what we got the microphone for.
My husband's happy.
But before she go, I want to add to that. If you want to get a security light at your home, you can reach out to us for security lighting at your home. And if you want to get it put in your yard to shine on your home, or directional lighting, or for street lighting, you have to reach out to the city of Jackson.
Okay, I just want to expound some on some of what Mr. Thompson said. I'm Sharon Miller. I am also a resident of South Jackson in the same area, and we are plagued with that street. I have already requested lights for this area. I have the work orders and everything. And there used to be homes there. What has happened is the storm comes in my down power line, of course you come out and restore the power, but you do not put the street lights there. So that's the issue. So I don't think we should be asking the city of Jackson to put lights up that should already be there. And I also want to talk about when you said earlier that we can call Energy and report the lights out. I do that all the time. But there are too many. We need somebody to come out and sweep our area. We need Energy to come out here. You can only see if the light is out after dark. It's dangerous driving down Richmond Drive after dark. It's dangerous driving anywhere after dark. So, I don't think we should be doing that. I think we should come out and millions of dollars that we're paying Energy for lighting. Energy should come out and do that. I don't think constituents should be responsible for something like this.
Okay, all right, now, if there is a pole where there was a light before, then that is something that we need to know. So if you do have a pole where there was a light, then you can let me know and I can have them look into that and we can get a light put back on that pole. But that is something that we can replace, and that shouldn't have to go through the city of Jackson. That's correct. Now, if there is an area where there is a lot of lights out, we can have them to come through and do a night patrol in that area. So you can let me know that area and I can deal with our lighting team and have them to do a night patrol in that area to get those lights fixed. We can do that. So you can begin the same in the back and we can have them to do a night patrol in that area.
Thank you so much. You had one more over here at this front table? I was told the lady in the green shirt had one.
I gave her one to give.
Okay, my name is Lenora Warren, and my concern is, does the Jackson water system have a projected date of when all customers will be on the water system for payment? I understand that some of they have not identified folks who are not paying.
Okay, so yes, initially when we did our data scrub, there were about 5,000 premises that did not have a registered water account. We are currently working with those premises to be able to get an active water account. We do not have a date for when that will happen, but I can tell you we've been, over the past month, recording about 150 new accounts a week. So we encourage people to continue to do that. We do want to make sure that everybody who is receiving water has an active account. If you currently live at a premise and you are not getting a water bill, you do not know if you're registered for an account, we ask that you register, go online and start service. Do not just register for an online account that will not start your account. You have to actually start service, which is a form on our website, jacksonwater.com. But we do not have an actual date by which all that will happen. But we are trying aggressively to make sure everybody who is not registered for an account has one. And we know that's roughly about 4,500 accounts at this time.
Thank you. The next question is for Atmos Energy. Is there something citizens can buy to detect leaks? Atmos Energy.
You know, what I mentioned earlier about our advanced leak detection equipment, and that's ongoing. We continue to do that 5 to 6 days a week. Our employees are out there detecting leaks. We also have trained technicians that can call in a gas leak. The best way to reach us about a gas leak is to smell it, call 911, call our office and our toll-free number, and we will have someone out there to investigate that leak. I am not aware, and I think that question was reference to smoke detectors. Is there something like that to detect natural gas leaks? From my vantage point, there is some technology out there. I just don't know how good that technology is, and I hate to say or promote something or say yes, and this is what you should use. The best thing to do is if you smell gas, call 911, call Atmos Energy. And I just want to reassure the public, that we have trained technicians that are out there actively monitoring our system to verify that our system is working in the way that it should be working.
Thank you. This one was for Entergy regarding funding. Are you all providing funds to the agencies that can help citizens? Entergy.
Yes, we do, and we do that through our heat program and our power to care program. And again, that's on that Bill 2 kit form, and online on our website. That Bill 2 kit form lists all of the agencies that we do provide those fundings to. There are several different agencies that's listed out there on that website.
Thank you. I have one more on this piece of paper for Jackson Water. It says they're asking if there's still lead in the water, and if so, will Jackson Water come out to citizens' homes and test for lead?
Right, so it's more than one answer to that question. We are consistently, there's something called LCRR, which EPA guidelines around lead testing. We are consistently, as we are fixing pipes, we are consistently doing an inventory of all of the different types of pipes in our system. And we're consistently testing for lead throughout our system. The reason why I'm not answering that question directly is because every individual residence is different. I cannot say the fixtures that are in your home or the pipes that exist from the street to your house. That is something that you can definitely, MDHS has a testing program. If you have concerns about the water at your home, like I said, we do water investigation calls where we will come and investigate. However, I cannot say definitively without knowing the fixtures in your home whether or not there is lead present, right? If you have an older home, if you cannot confirm when your plumbing was done, if you are a tenant in a rental property, and you have any concern about your water quality, you can call. MDHS's website has where you can come request testing at your property, and you can call us and we will do a water investigation. But I can't say definitively without knowing where you live or the circumstances around your home, whether or not there's lead present.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay. Yes, hang on just 1 second. I was told to pass the mic to this woman and then we will get back on track.
Back to the street lights. I'm a neighborhood association leader, and the same thing she was saying, the lights in our neighborhood, like a West Capitol, Colonial Heights West, the street lights have been out since April. I went so far as every month we had community meetings. They told me to get out the numbers off the poles at the EPA, and I had all the neighbors. We didn't have any numbers, so I figured it's probably the numbers. I had called my neighbor called. So the association, I had everybody to call, and do the numbers, we did the app. We called ourselves crossing our T's and dotting all our I's. We still have no lights. And 2 of my neighbors have been broken into the ditch. It's pitch black on Louisiana, on Texas, on Alabama. And my second question is, I guess it's for the city of Jackson or by way of the streets. We have trees growing out the middle of our street. And everybody see it. If you drive down Parkside beside the zoo, we have total, complete oak trees growing out of the middle of Texas, out of the middle of Alabama, and Beach Street.
For time reasons, we do need to hurry. We were supposed to finish at 8 o'clock. I know these are all important questions, but if we could just, for the interest of time, if we could answer that and then quickly move forward.
I'm sorry, can she give me the name of her neighborhood again?
What's the name of your neighborhood again?
Colonial Heights. So I just rebranded, renamed.
Colonial Heights West?
And that's
Colonial Heights West.
That's located from Parkside to Bowling on West Capitol Street.
And you have one, ma'am?
Good evening, everyone. This is my ward, Ward 6. And my question is this. I know that the water company has relocated to Pearl. Are there any future arrangements for the consumers to be able to come directly and communicate with the water department?
Right, so our call center, our contracted call center is actually located in Pearl, but our Jackson Water office is not. However, we are not open to the public, and we are using our call center as our main customer service arm. And so at this moment, there are not any plans to open an in-person facility for customers to be able to come in. Now, there are, if you have a particular issue, the call center has a process for elevating those things to an appointment. So you can schedule an appointment through a process with the call center if there's an issue that needs to be elevated to that. But other than that, we do not have a business office where customers can come at any time of the day to have.
So we're gonna just tell them we would like to make an appointment to go in because.
Well, if you have a particular issue, then the call center is aware of how to elevate that issue if it's not resolved.
They say, I have, this has happened 4 months. My bill, I paid my bill by bank. It has not been credited to my account. I call each month. They ask for a claim number. I give them that. I tell them I have mail copies. I have email copies.
Have you filled out a customer care form here tonight? If you could, it's on the back table. If you could fill out one so I can know your exact account number and have a customer care lead look at your account. Because without seeing your individual account, I can't really tell you what exactly is happening with it, but I can have a customer care lead follow up and figure out what it is.
You mentioned tonight that we cannot pay our bill through the bank. I have never heard of that.
No, I'm not in terms of a banking number. You can pay in several different ways.
I pay
But if
Bank Plus.
Okay, but if you're saying that it's not something that's showing up on your account, that's something that we need to
Ma'am,
further investigate.
is it possible for you to speak to the Jackson Water representative after the meeting so we can continue with the other questions and you still get your question addressed?
I'd like to know how can I get.
Thank you. Okay, so y'all can talk after the meeting and address it directly so that we can move on with the rest of the questions that we need.
This is the question most of us have. We do not have an appeal process that I have been hung up on by your customer bill. So, and I asked for a supervisor. She did not put me.
I would encourage you tonight to complete a customer care form, make sure that gets to me, and I will have someone to follow up with you directly about your issue. Because without seeing your account in front of me, there is no way for me to know the exact issue that's creating the discrepancy in your bill or whatever's happening with your account.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question, ma'am. What was your question?
It's about the water. I have, ever since May, I've been calling. Each month I get $200, that's up to $800. Okay, and I called and I called, I said, I don't want my water turned off. They said, you have a leak. I said, I had to come out, I don't have to. So they put on my door, she said she has someone to come out and check. They put out on my door, July the 10th. Investigation, no issue found. So then I called back and she said, you don't have a leak anymore. I said, well, you said I had a leak. She said exactly this, I quote. She said, I said, well, when did I have a leak? She said, November you had a leak, but you don't have it fixed. I'm the only one who lived there. And the comment said I didn't have a leak, and it says I don't have a leak. But now my bill it says 30 going up and up. And when you call, it said a call center, and then they won't call you back. So the day I called, and she said, we'll call you back on the 13th of this month. Okay, no one called me, so I called a day. I said, am I talking to Katie? Because I always ask their name. And she said, no, it's Bellamy. And she said, oh, I'm looking at your meter on the website. You don't have a leak, but they forgot to call me. He said, so I'm gonna put down again today. I said, it never damn changed. I said, excuse the expression, but I said to her, so she said, we'll get back to you. They don't have it. I don't want my water turned off, I don't have a problem.
Right, and I think the important thing to know, because leaks can be really complicated, right? We've had people who have slab leaks, we have people who have leaks underneath their house that they can't see. However, if it is found that you do not have a leak, or if you do have a leak and it is fixed, there is a billing adjustment process where you will not have to pay the totality of the bill that you are currently seeing based on your water usage. So that is something to understand. If you are currently in the process of fixing a leak, we are not going to come and turn off your water. But you do have to initiate the bill resolution process where we can make adjustments to your bill if you have been found to have a leak or thought to have a leak or see a spike in your water usage in our system. I hope that answers your question. So I'm not saying that we will perfectly handle every single call that calls into our call center, but the things to know is that you can escalate your issues. You can ask for an appointment to resolve said issues. You cannot come to our office at any time to speak to a customer service representative, but if you call the call center and you're not seeing resolve, or somebody that has not responded to you in a particular amount of time, I would encourage you to call back, but also understand that if it's an issue around a leak or not leak, that we can adjust your bill, so we will not come and turn it off for non-payment if you are currently in process of fixing a leak or identifying if you have a leak at your property.
Well, she said they were gonna fix it the 13th, they were gonna make an adjustment, and the day she said, oh, they forgot.
Right, I would encourage you in that instance to make sure that you fill out one of those customer care forms, and I'll have Lisa follow up with you.
I have a question for MDOT and regarding the traffic light. I was on Highway 80. I saw a semi make the turn from Highway 80 onto University Boulevard, and it hit the light and spun it around the road. Is there a certain height they're supposed to be or not? Do the wires just need to be picked up?
That is a traffic light question, and the lights are to be at a certain height, and it does not, you will have those instances where 18-wheelers will come out and shine it like that. We've had that all over the city, and this is on Highway 80 and University Park. Is it still that way, or has it been repaired?
No, it's finally fixed, but it was weird because you come down and you want to make a left turn and you can't see the arrows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real safety.
If you find a situation like that, please call 311. That is the city's.
311 doesn't work.
Call my office, 601-960-2313. 601-960-2313. We'll get it taken care of.
Thank you all so much for coming this evening. Because we have gone over on time, we're going to go ahead and have a few words from Jennifer West of the Neighborhood Services Division in the City of Jackson, and then we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. If any of our panelists are available to speak and stay after, they'll point you to the back room where the tables are of their information and materials. But we would like to thank them for their time of coming this evening, because they did not have to come here 11 evening of their time to be in a hot seat, to answer questions, to give presentation, and to come up here and speak to you guys as the citizens of Jackson. They did not have to do that, and they did. So I'm very thankful to each and every one of them for their time, their energy, and their answers, their honesty, and their materials. Here's Jennifer West with a few words about information and resources.
Good afternoon. Real quick, I appreciate everybody coming out, but I want to make one common thing starting here. All of y'all that have come out tonight, you are advocates for your neighborhood. Let that be the first thing that you know. If you do not have a neighborhood association, please get with us after this meeting. We have several pop-ups, they have QR codes, we have telephone numbers that you can come and get with us. some of these concerns, we can try to answer or facilitate getting the information back to all of these local people that have come out tonight. We can't guarantee everything, but that was the purpose of us having this meeting tonight. We knew that we could not answer every single question, but we asked them to come. So if you have time, please make sure that you call our office at 601-767-9428. That is 601-767-9428. If you contact our office, we will try our best to get these information back to them, and then we will facilitate it to you. But we do need your help. A lot of this happens with neighborhood associations coming together and doing these different things. Also, the city of Jackson will have National Night Out October 1st, and it will be throughout the city. If you want to register, you can contact Officer Scuttle at 601-960-2049. That is 601-960-2049, or contact Neighborhood Services at 601-767-9428. Thank you, and good night.